In this lesson, we're looking at alternatives to the family. We're on page 86, 87. So, ways of groups of humans living together closely, raising kids, but nothing to do with being related by blood. So, how to do that, how to raise kids in anything except a family, an alternative to it, something you do instead of being in a family. So we can study the social groups that might replace the family and to work out if they are a real replacement. A lot of key words here. You read through them at your leisure and we'll go through them in class. Right? So let's start off with a question now. From the point of view of a sociologist, what is the main function of the family? It's an important question. We've got a whole separate lesson on this coming up in a little while. But let's start off now by thinking about what's the function of a family, meaning what does it do? And I hope you've instantly figured this out. The function of families is to socialise children, is to raise children. Yeah? So let's move on. In the 1960s, people tried to do something instead of families. What we call communes were tried. Yeah. Hippies. They buy a pit of land or perhaps a big house and loads of adults all move in. They have children. The women have children by various men in the commune, and everybody is the children's mothers and fathers. They live communally. They live together. None of them own anything separately. The whole commune owns everything collectively, and they all work together to raise the children. This was tried quite a few times. Lots and lots of these communes were tried all over the USA and Britain and other places. They all seem to collapse after between 3 and 5 years. People, it seems they couldn't really make it work. They wanted to live in more biologically based groups, and people didn't seem to be able to stop favouring their own children. Yeah, that's communes. A more determined attempt to replace families was done in Israel in the 1940s and 50s, and in fact, in a way, still comes today. It's called the kibbutz system. Yeah. A little bit of background here first. This is a map of Israel. Yeah. Mediterranean Sea, Egypt, Syria, Jordan. Here's Israel. Now this bit here, this triangle down here, is mostly desert. Yeah. Now what happened is, groups of Israelis went to live there. When they went there, it would look something like this. Here's their little town, and all this round here is scrubby desert land. And the job was, let's turn this into productive farmland. It's a big job. So what they did, they thought, well, we can't have half the workforce, half the women that is, just not doing it. We need all the adult men and nearly all the adult women to actually do the physical work on the land. So what we'll do is we'll put our children in a collective building with a few teachers full time, but that building there is the one in this kibbutz. Put all the kids there and they will live there. So all the children will grow up together with a couple of adults looking after them. Their parents might see them for an hour in the evening, but the rest of the time they're working on the land. And it seemed to work very well. The kids loved it. Here they are. Here's a kibbutz class. These kids here all regard all these other young adults as their brothers and sisters. They've been raised that way together. We'll explain this more in class. And it worked. This is the same bit of land. So this, after 20 years, 10 years, became this productive farmland. It worked. And the kids were happy. The kids were fine. But it does seem again today, the kibbutzes still exist, but the parents, now the hard work is done, the parents seem to want to spend more time with their own biological children. So the imperative to do all the work is now passed. So it seems that they must give their kids over to the commune, to the kibbutz, less, so they can raise them themselves. So they do more work on that in class. So, what does the rarity and failure of communes and the kibbutz system tell us about families? Well, this is a very rare statement to make in sociology. It does appear that the desire to have and raise your own children, biological children, appears to be at least a little bit genetic. It's not just cultural, it appears to be genetic. A desire to want to care for your own children. Lastly on this little bit, increasingly in our culture are people who don't live in families, what we call perpetual adolescents, grown adults in their 20s, 30s, 40s, who choose not to get married, choose to live alone. Yeah. In the past, this was extremely rare. There was a lot more pressure on people to marry up and have children, and now it's much more common for people not to feel that pressure and therefore live their lives as perpetual adolescents.